Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing, man? Antonelli here.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? How we doing? Matt Antonelli here. Before we get into things today, today's video is powered by Triton. So if you have followed our stuff, you know that we use Triton jerseys and gear. Here's an example of one of the jerseys they made for us this year. They do an awesome job. Go to custombaseballjerseys.com. You can check out all their stuff. You'll probably see some of our jerseys on there. We highly recommend that you check them out. So definitely go and do that. Okay, so let's check out a video here of Joey Votto talking about ball flight, talking about hitting a ball consistently on a line with backspin and watching some of the best players in the game do that.
I feel like a lot of the best hitters, whenever they practice or whenever they hit their best bullet, it's a ball that's on a line and it's a ball that has backspin. So every time I'm practicing, every time I've watched the very best hitters in the game practice, I was lucky I got to watch Pujols on a consistent basis when he was in the Central. He was a dream come true to watch, whether in practice or in the game. Every ball he hit was on this perfect line with this perfect backspin. And to me, he had this big spread out stance, this kind of awkward posture up top. But then when he delivered the barrel and the ball shot off, it was like hitting perfection. It was exactly what you're looking for. And if I were to talk to any young hitter, it's watch the ball come off your bat. Just because you hit the ball in a long way doesn't mean you necessarily did the right thing. But if you can pop straight line drives with good backspin, I think good things happen.
All right, so a couple of points I want to hit on here. One, let's talk about when he's talking about watching players, right? Watching pool holes, watching the best players in the game and seeing what they're doing, right? Seeing what their batting practice looks like, seeing what they look like in the game is hugely important, right? Being able to pick out some things from the best players in the game. In my opinion, the players that are able to be consistent and they're at the top of the league, right, offensively, they're there for a reason. They're using certain core principles that we talk about in the swing that are allowing them to be on path, to create really great bat speed, to create some real quickness in their swing. And so here's a guy, Joey Votto, who's a great hitter. And he's watching other players and saying, okay, what can I take from this guy? What are they doing? What is helping them be successful? And this is something that I've been really interested in, not just as a coach, but way back even as a player. I can remember all the way back in college when I would go and watch the other team's batting practice. So we'd usually hit first, and then you come in and you kind of hang out for a while, and then the other team is going to hit batting practice. And so if you go out there, I'd go out in the dugout and I'd watch the other team. I'd watch certain players hit. Like when we played Florida State, I remember my freshman year I watched Stephen Drew. So he was on Florida State, and so I'd go out and I'd watch him hit, and I'd see, okay, what's this guy doing? This guy's going to be probably first round pick. Like, what is he doing? When we played Miami, I went out and watched Ryan Braun, right, against Florida State again, Buster Posey. So you start hearing about these guys that are really good players. What are they doing? What's their swing looks like? What's their approach? What are they working on in batting practice? I remember watching Ryan Braun my first time. I heard about this guy. Miami comes to Wake Forest, and so I went out and sat in the dugout and watched him hit BP. And actually, the biggest thing I took away, I remember it was the first round, and it was like this oppo round, right? So he just working the ball oppo. And at our old stadium at Wake Forest, we had trees that surrounded the outfield wall. And he must have hit, he probably took 7 swings. He must have hit 5 home runs, and they were all over the trees to the opposite field, right center field. It looked like he was just kind of flicking the ball, and these balls are just blasting off to right center field for home runs. And at this point, I was a sophomore. He was a junior. He ended up going in the first round, and I remember watching him and being like, okay, I've got to get my what together. Like, this dude is legit, and if I want to be a high pick, if I want to be a first round pick, like I've got to really keep improving because this guy's really good, right? So that's one takeaway I take from this is here's a guy at the top of his game studying other players and picking things from them. Okay. The other thing is how important ball flight is and how much feedback you can get by watching ball flight, right? And all of a sudden today, it's like all this talk about launch angle and the angle at which the ball is coming off the bat. And people act like this is like a new phenomenon. It's this crazy thing. ball flight has been really important for a really, really long time, right? We didn't call it launch angle, but ball flight. How did the ball come off the bat? And so if you can hit a ball, on a line, which is, again, in the air with some carry, with some backspin, right? Working the ball, gap to gap, driving the ball into the outfield, trying to drive the ball over outfielders' heads, right? Trying to drive the ball off the wall. If you're able to do that, then your swing is working. You're probably on path consistently. You've probably got some pretty good bat speed and some pretty good quickness if you're able to do that. Now, if you're hitting the ball and you're getting rollover spin all the time, right? Well, then something's going on in your swing. Something is wrong. And so you should be able to take that feedback and start to look into your swing and figure it out, right? If you're consistently kind of flaring the ball to the opposite field, right? Or you're consistently hitting shallow pop-ups as a right-hander or second base or shallow right field, and something's going on. You're probably too steep through the zone. You're probably cutting across the hitting zone too much. And so it's important to be able to take the feedback, right? And so we're working on, like Votto said, I'm trying to drive the ball in a line with backspin. And if I'm doing that, great. I mean, that's what I'm working on. But if I'm not getting that, if I'm getting something else, then what's going on in my swing, right? So make sure we're always taking that feedback and then trying to figure out what is causing that. Okay, so really, really important to be in tune with ball flight, to be in tune with spin. What type of spin are you consistently putting on the ball? This will give you clues into what's going on in your swing. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. Comment in the section below. Subscribe to the channel. Give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. Share with all your friends. All that good stuff. And that's all I have. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you watching, and we'll talk to you later.